I had billionaire clients giving me bits of advice. You think I'd take it? Nah. What do they know? Okay, so I mean, I was just an idiot. Okay, I'm a Marine. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to just work harder. I'm going to work longer. I'm going to make it happen. I did, but all the little things and everything they told me, they were right, but I just didn't do them, so I'm not that person anymore.
Welcome to Give a Heck. I am your host, Dwight Heck, and for much of my life, lived my life in quiet desperation, wondering how I was going to pay the bills, take vacations, save for retirement, and one day wondering if I would get off the hamster wheel of life and have purpose. A life that most of society lives, which takes us to work, then home, then repeat, and pays us hopefully enough just to survive. The harsh truth that most live with more month than money and have no idea how to live life on purpose, not by accident. This ensures the mass majority are living not just financially broke, however emotionally and mentally as well due to financial pressures. In each episode, I will introduce you to thoughts, ideas, and guests that can help you to learn how you too can live life on purpose, not by accident. Good day, and welcome to Give a Heck. On today's show, I welcome Richard Walsh. Richard is the CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching. Richard is a 30-year seasoned entrepreneur. He's the best-selling author of Escape the Owner Prison, The Contractor's New Way to Scale, Regain Control, and Fast-Track Growth While Loving Life. A speaker and podcast host, he's a husband and father of 6 children. I thought I was bad. I got 5. A U.S. Marine, champion boxer, black belt, and an internationally recognized steel sculptor. His expertise lies in combining both the strategic and tactical. He's able to deliver immediate problem-solving results, tactical, along with strategic, long-term implementation of systemization and scalability. With over 30 years in business himself, Richard has embraced time compression, sharing the secrets and strategies that bring rapid and lasting results to the companies he works with. I'd like to welcome you to the show, Richard. Thanks so much for coming on the show and agreeing to share some of your life journey.
Well, great to be here, man. Thanks for having me. I am excited for this.
Oh, I'm excited too. It's just for the listeners and people watching on YouTube. I've talked about it before. I like conversing. I ask for a minimum 90-minute time block because I like getting to know my guests before we start recording. And Richard's one of those rare people that we connected within about 30 seconds. And then the conversation just went on. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have you on my show. And I look forward to having a great conversation and learning more about you. One of the things, as I mentioned to you before I hit record, I like focusing on as a person's origin story. For those new to the show, I focus on the origin story, not just the superficial story of your life. I like knowing people's earliest recollections. I've had some great stories from people, what they remember at 5, 6 years of age in their life. And I'm not saying your origin story is good or bad. It's just something that is important for us to connect with the guests. So Richard, please do me a favor and share your origin story from your earliest recollections to where you are today, please.
Wow, the earliest recollections. That's
yes. Even if you were back to when you sucked your thumb.
That's right. Do you have a therapist on staff? Because
do you know what? Just a second. I got to get my other hat.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, I remember a lot. There's parts of my life I don't remember, young. Let's just say we moved a lot. Okay, so we moved a lot. Like, I think the estimate was in the 30s, like 30 plus times we moved before I was out of high school, which was interesting in itself. And we'd move like down the block sometimes. So it's not like we went from Arizona to Chicago to Georgia. It was, let's move 2 streets over. Let's just get out of the school zone and be at a different school. Okay. So it's interesting when you think about something like that. And I've talked about this before, but you learn a couple of things happen in that kind of situation. First, you become, I don't know what the actual word is. You have I guess you could call it attachment issues, or you don't have attachment issues because you don't get attached to anything. However that's termed. Okay. So I'm very good at new. I'm very good at adapting to the new thing, the new place I have to be. I had to be, right? It also caused me to create usually one friend at every new school, just one. I wasn't going to be the most popular guy. I wasn't your average dude. I didn't, but I'd find that one guy I'd click with, and they'd be my friend until we moved again. And then they wouldn't be my friend because I'd be on to the next one. So it was kind of a weird, as that accumulates and you go through stuff, it also causes you to have in the public school system for me, every school you go to, they're going to be at a different place. So you might have been learning pronouns at this school, you go to the next one, and they either haven't done that or you didn't learn pronouns and now you're supposed to know them already and you never get to it. Right. Now I got to dissect a lot of frogs and pigs because they seem to always got that. So I should have maybe been a surgeon. I was pretty good. But that whole thing, when I look back at it, that constant change, constant adaptation was kind of interesting because of what I became. Okay. Now I'm also kind of an odd bird. At 13, I'm a pretty big kid. I was like 6 foot 180. And I wanted to go in the Marine Corps. Okay. I want to go in the U.S. Marine Corps. So I went to the recruiter and I sat at his desk, said, I'm ready to go. And he's looking at me and we're talking a little bit. And he goes, well, how old are you? I go, well, I'm 13, but I'm ready to go. He goes, he hands me a couple of stickers. Man, you come back when you graduate high school, man, we'll get you right in. I'm like, oh man.
What did your family think about that?
I didn't tell them.
That's awesome.
So it was, yeah, by 16, I was like moving out. I was working as a cook in a Mexican restaurant. I ran cross country. So another real popular sport, right? I did all that, working in a Mexican restaurant. And my parents moved again. So I was going to go to that would have been 1, 2, 3, my fourth high school. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I got like 6 months to graduate. Like, I'm not doing it. So I didn't. I stayed. I moved out, moved in with a friend, kept working, graduated high school, barely. Yes, so people, like when they talk to me and they know me, man, you're really smart. They tell me all this stuff. I'm like, yeah. And I always hung out with the smartest kids at school. Wherever I was with the smartest kids. I don't know why, I just like that, right? Like me. Now, I was not the smartest kid. Okay. So I remember my senior year at my last high school, my third high school. I'm with my buddy Victor. And you know what the smart kids do, right? They're checking their GPA every day. They're in this constant battle for 4 point something, right? And I'm like, okay. So he goes, come on, let's go check our GPAs. So we go down to the office, Dwight, and he's like, okay, he gets his and his whatever 4.2 or whatever it is. And he goes, okay, get Richard's, So she goes, here you go. And he's like, no, this must be someone else. He hands it back. I go, and she goes, no, this is him. It's 1.7. That's his grade point average. And he's like, there's no way. I'm like, Victor, that's mine, man. That's mine. He goes, there's no way. There's no way you got a 1.7. Like, how can I go, dude, have you ever seen me take a book home? I said, I don't do tests, man. I don't do homework. I just am who I am, and I just do it. So, pardon me, that was kind of the shock for them. I'm like, but I'm smart, but I'm not like the book smart guy, right? I'm not the guy who takes great tests. I don't test well, terrible at it, right? Like in the earlier years, Scantron, right? You ever do those where you fill in the little dots?
Oh yeah.
I just made designs. Literally, that's how I answered the stuff. I'm like, I'm just making cool designs on the Scantron.
Sometimes I was just like eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Right. Yeah. It's multiple choice. I got 1 out of 4. I got a 25% chance of being right.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of how I rolled through all that, got out of high school. Now I went in the Marine Corps. Okay. So then I went in the Marine Corps. Okay. Did that. And it was weird because I took the ASVAB test, which is like basically a vocational aptitude test. And I scored like super high. I scored like a 90. I think I got a 94. I think I got a 94 on that, which is super high for that. You could be whatever you want in the Marine Corps. I go, I just want to go kill people. You know, how much education I need for that.
Yeah,
Right?
that's really focused what you wanted,
Yes.
right?
I want to go.
I don't want to be the camp cook.
I said, well, I'll say it in a more politically correct way. I want to go destroy the enemy. That's what I want to do. Okay. But yeah, so that was basically it. And went in that was good. You know, and I was great. I love the training. I love everything with that. Coming out of that, so I get out of the Marine Corps, and this is like 87, and you got to start working. So my first job is I'm swinging a pickaxe, digging trench, and we're laying cable. So I'm in Tucson, Arizona. It's like 100 degrees. You're going caliche. You can dig like 2 inches at a time with a pick, and I'm swinging this thing 8 hours a day, $5 an hour. That's my job all day. You know, just digging trench all day. Little tiny, you know, whatever, 18 inches deep and 6 inches wide. And I'm like, wow, this is quite the future I got going for myself here. And someone asked me, say, hey man, can you do a side job? You do any side work? I go, yeah. So down there they do like granite, like 3/4 inch granite stuff instead of grass. You spread all that. So I've got a whole load and I need it brought to my backyard. I need you to spread it. Everything else can you do? Yeah, I can do that, man. I swing a pick all day. I can do that. So I spent my last $85 before payday on a wheelbarrow and a shovel. Showed up, he had 35 tons of this stuff on the street.
Wow.
You know, so I started shoveling. 7 in the morning, worked 10 hours, got it all finished. I mean, I can work. So brought this back all the way to get done. And here's the beauty, Dwight. He came out and he put $1,000 in my hand.
Wow.
And I'm looking at that going, dude, I did this yesterday for $50. Swinging a pickaxe. I know my future. I know my future now. I am going to work for myself, you know, because man, that's a good return. And that started my landscape business, which turned into a custom water feature business. So doing waterfalls and rocks, and then really started scaling that. I started that in like 89, 90. And that really took off. I was very early in that industry, if you will. You know, it was very new to people. So I really became the leader in that. Very artistic in what I did, but did some amazing, amazing projects. Started to do steel sculpture. So, well, I'll teach myself how to weld. I kind of like that. Looks interesting. So I did that. The next thing I know, I'm doing these massive projects. I'm doing world-class exhibits, right? I'm putting stuff in that, you know, permanent exhibits supposed to last 100 years, Corten steel and stainless, and just amazing, right? And I'm doing all that. And that's just, I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I'm in magazines and I'm on TV. I'm doing all this really great stuff. And, you know, on the surface. So as we go through this, it's like, wow, man, I'm really killing. I'm making great money because I can charge whatever I want because no one can do what I do. You know, so, and when I got done with the water feature, Dwight, it looked like it was there before the house. Okay. I mean, that's what I did. And if you look at any of my work, which I still have a website for, but it's pretty good. I'm not just patting myself on the back, but I kind of am. I was really good at what I did.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with confidence, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I pretty much, quick story. So I had this guy own a huge salon, couple salons, right? And I was in his office one day and he's raving about his neighbor's water feature. 5 minutes. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, blah, blah. He's going on and on and on. I go, well, have you ever seen my work? His name was Teddy. I go, Teddy, just pull up, you know, rickrock.net. And so he pulls it up. I see him look at the thing. He looks up from the computer and he goes, they don't have a nice water feature. He raved about the thing for 5 minutes till he saw mine and then went, see, it's just exposure, man. You got to just know what's out there, you know? And that was one of the good compliments. You get those and you're like, wow, that's really cool. So,
well, it makes you feel good inside right here.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's why you do it, right? My whole thing is, yeah, I learned this not too long ago, like those words of affirmation, love language, all that stuff. I mean, I know of it, but didn't realize that was a big thing. People ask why I did what I did. And I realized literally a couple of weeks ago, which is odd, but I was talking to another host and I'm like, it's for that. So people can tell me it's amazing. I go, the money
There's
was
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't driven by money. I mean, I like money. I'm not a money hater. I love money. And I got a lot of money from doing what I did, but it wasn't what drove me. It was them to just sit there and I had a guy call the other day, Dwight. Literally, I built his thing like 16, 17 years ago, his water feature. He called me. He goes, well, we're having a little problem. He went on my website and contacted me. I haven't talked to him since I put it in. It's just, I think it's leaking a little bit 16 years later. Can you come out and take a look? I'm like, well, I don't really do that anymore, but I'll pop by, I mean, okay, because whatever it takes, man, I'll pay you whatever you want. It's been amazing. I'm like, wow, it's been like 16, 17 years. And this guy, now there's a problem. You know what I mean? So that's how well I built stuff, I guess is what I'm saying. But it's kind of cool how much people loved it. So it was moving on from that. So that's all going great. I'm doing this big stuff. Then 0809 hits. So we got the big financial collapse and everything else. And on November 5th of '08, I lost $500,000 on that day. People just canceling, doing. I mean, everyone was terrified, right? Everyone was holding on to their money, and rightly so at that time. And it just kept going off the cliff from there. By early '09, I'm like, we're limping, right? We're barely getting by. And I start to realize, yeah, it's not going to happen. Like, and I built over 1,000 water features. And I'm like, maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm done with this, but I've got all this equipment and business and people working for me. And then I had my 6 small children, right? So we end up having 6 kids in like 3.5 years. Okay. Which is pretty cool, but that's a lot of kids in diapers. Okay. So kids. So it was a little,
you had some more than one in there, like twins.
yeah. So I'll give you the quick story since you like that. So married 5 years. So I got married at like 34 years old. My wife's a bit younger than I am, but married 5 years, having trouble conceiving, all that stuff. Okay, let's get into the foster care program, and
Oh,
maybe we
okay.
can adopt or something like that. So okay, we're gonna do that. We take all the classes, and we're waiting. 6 months goes by, and we get a phone call. Hey, we got a newborn, just born yesterday. We'll be to your house in 45 minutes. We're like, oh, it's like, oh, they're bringing a baby over in 45 minutes. So we both get home. She's working at the Chicago Board of Trade. I'm doing my business, right? And sure enough, we get little D'Angelo. He comes in, he's a day old, and wow, this is great. Raise him, it's all good. So then we decided to do in vitro. So less than a year later, my wife has a baby girl. Okay. And the day we bring her home, the phone rings. The mother of D'Angelo, my oldest, just had a baby boy, but it was like 2 months premature. So he'll be here in like a week. We're like, okay, we'll take him. So he's like 3 weeks older than my daughter. Right. So
Wow.
there's kind of our first set of twins. Okay. So we got that. And then we did in vitro again. Then my wife had twin boys.
Wow.
Okay. So boom, we got twin boys. And then I don't know, a couple months later, whatever, and the phone rings again. The mother of the other two had another baby girl. So we'll take her. So we got her too. Right. And
Wow.
she had a lot of issues, drugs, burglary, prostitution, all this terrible stuff. But she took these kids to term, right? And had these kids, and we're blessed for that. So that was kind of wild. So you got 6 in like 3.5 years.
But congratulations on,
Yeah.
being the person that, for me, God does things for people, whether you're God fearing or not,
Right.
right? It was all
Right.
meant to be, whether you
Yeah.
believe the universe did it to you or however it
Right.
happened.
Right.
Congratulations to your wife and you. Those kids are blessed, obviously adults, most of them, or if not all of them.
They're in a team. So I got a 19, 2 18s, 2 17s, and a 16 right now.
Yeah.
And my oldest is in the Marine Corps, been in about 6 months now. So that's great
Wow.
for him. Yeah, they're all working. They're awesome. We homeschooled them all the way through. So we homeschooled our kids all the way through high school and stuff. We got like 1 left to graduate, 2 left, whatever it is. And it's really awesome. So, but it takes 3.5 years to go through the adoption process. So that's a challenge in itself because you never know. You're still in the foster realm, but everything's good, right? So it all went and all this stuff. And I'll tell you the coolest part about the whole story, right? So the mother also had 2 babies previous to the 3 that we had, and she put those up for adoption, right? So it's like, we never met her, but I know we're on a podcast, but you can follow people, right?
Of
Connect, you can
course.
find people, right? So we can find, so my wife, being the mother that she is, it's kind of keeping tabs on this person. And here's the coolest part of the whole story. I mean this sincerely. She pulled one, she goes, come take a look at this. And she pulls something on Facebook and she showed me, see this girl holding a baby, kind of huddled next to her and stuff. I'm going, is that? She goes, yeah, that's their mother. She goes, she had another baby. She's a general manager of a Salvation Army store, stuff like that. All like that's redemption, man. She's like turned everything around, off the drugs, off everything else, got a baby, got a life going. I'm like, that is the coolest thing. She didn't come back. I need my kids back or any of that kind of weird stuff. I mean, it doesn't really work legally after they've been adopted, but you know what I mean? It's like seeing that was like the coolest thing of it all. Like she was so awesome just to bring them to term and have those children. I mean, she left within an hour. She had a baby, she gone, but she did it. She carried that child for 9 months, right? Had those babies. And now she's got her own. That is, to me, is like one of the most powerful things. It's just true
Well, that's
redemption.
the testimonial that you're sharing, though, is important for the listeners and people watching. It's never too late to give a heck about yourself. The whole theme
Right.
of my podcast, I don't care where you are in life. I've had people pull their lives together that are in their 60s.
Mm-hmm.
People reach out to me as a financial planner, and they've never goal set in their life. They've never saved in their life, and they may not be able, because time is on our side or it's against us. It's either or. It doesn't slow down. And all I do is have conversations. I still help them goal set, and of course they're not going to achieve something where somebody started in their 30s, right? But it's never too late for them to appreciate their lives and start climbing. It might not even be about money. It might be me life coaching them just to feel better about their lives. And hey, what do you want to do that you have never done? This. Oh yeah, we can. Why not do it? Try it out. Giving them confidence and courage, because life beats down people, right? They don't get those words of affirmation like you and I. That's my love language too, by the way. Words of
Yeah.
Affirmation. I
Yeah.
love that book. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I can appreciate what you're saying, that, and that testimonial about that lady that she got her life together. That's great to share.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, it really warmed my heart, man. It's like, man, just God's good. He
Oh,
just,
absolutely.
no one's beyond redemption. Nobody, and that's a beautiful thing. So I really love that part of the whole story, is really cool, where my kids are now. And that's been an amazing journey. So when people ask me, like, because I've accomplished a lot, right? You're in the bio and I've done all this cool stuff and one of
Yeah.
these awards and everything. But they ask me what, I'm like, my legacy is my children. I said, all that other stuff, man, whatever, it's stuff, it's things I built or whatever. It was great. But my kids, like pouring into them, because the big thing in 0809, when things were collapsing, Dwight, I woke up one morning and this was my big epiphany. I'm like, you know what? My kids, like when I come home at night, they all run to me and they attack me or crawl to me at that time, whatever. They just love to see me. One time my son's chasing my truck out the driveway crying. And I'm looking in the rearview mirror. And of course, it's me. I just keep going. You know what I mean? And I really had like, you know what? If I stay on this course, business is first, business is everything, win, 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 be number one, be the best. I'm going to ruin my children's lives because they're going to have broken marriages, failed relationships. They might be good at business, but everything else in their life is going to be a failure because they'd be so focused like I was for 20 years.
Did you
You
have
know,
core values at that time in your life, or is that something that you believe in having in regards to consistency of what you've filtered your life through that changed when you had those epiphany moments about your kids in 0809?
yeah, I think I had values. I mean, I was high in integrity and stuff like that, right? I did business right. I never cheated anyone. I had good principles, but I didn't have that understanding of others really, like, so I'm like a 0 on the empathy scale. If you measured me, it would read about a 0. Um, and it was worse then. Now it's much better actually, but I didn't understand the effect I had on others. So what I always say about kids is more is caught than taught, right? So
Mm.
I can tell them to do one thing, but they're going to do what I do, what I literally
Monkey
do.
see, monkey do is a
That's right.
perfect
Right.
term.
They're going to pick that up. They're going to, even if they don't know, they're not going to go and do that at 10, but at 24, 28, 30, they're going to revert to that. That's going to be who they are. That's what they're going to know. And to reprogram yourself, like I had to do as a young adult, was I had to reteach myself. I had to learn because I didn't learn in school. I started reading great books and I get into everything. So I love to learn now. So I love to learn after I got out of the learning place. Right now I understood, like, oh, I'm doing this for me now. Because before it was just the thing I didn't understand. And for my children, the same thing. That's why we wanted to homeschool them. I wanted to give them a different experience when we teach them. I want them to be critical thinkers. So they're not standardized test kids. So if you give them a standardized test, they're not going to do well. But here's a cool thing with my son going to the Marine Corps. You got to take the ASVAB, which by some miracle I scored really high. He took it and scored super low. Right? They're like, yeah, you're going to have to bring this up. I go, well, they don't do standardized testing because we homeschool. And so the Marine Corps recruiter, great guy, this guy, now he's Staff Sergeant Vines, awesome dude. He's like, well, you come in here every day, every week, you retake the test. We'll help you study whatever you need. We'll get it. I go, I'm going to get him a tutor too. I brought him in 1 month. He went from a 16 to an 89.
Wow.
Okay. Because he's not stupid. He just doesn't do standardized testing. We learn different. But
Well, kids that go to school they learn so much everything's structured. Go to this class, into this class, you got to do this chapter, do this assignment. They don't teach people to be critical thinkers in school. No offense to the school system, but it's broken. It needs a lot of revamping. So good for your son.
Yeah. So it was just cool to see him because I know he's super sharp and he's doing really well in the Corps, and it's awesome. But all that stuff was really maybe rethink about my business and what I do. Because now also 0809 losing all that stuff, I lost a home. I lost our home. I did a lot of things I didn't do in my business that really caused it. It wasn't the financial collapse that ruined me. That was just the indicator. That just said, well, here, let us fully expose all the stuff you're ignoring and you're going to be out of business, right? So I don't blame the collapse. I blame what I didn't do. Because if I blame the collapse, every business in the world should have been out of business, right? So I'm like, well, it's not that. It's what I didn't do in my business. I put a lot of stuff to the left of my desk. I ignored things. I mean, I'm an artist. I got to be out and build things. I got to do things, So I do the important stuff. I'm making the money. Meanwhile, stuff is, getting me in trouble. But now I had to correct all that, right? Now I had to, well, how can I build a new business? Because I'm pretty much unemployable at this time, right? 20 years working for myself. How can I build a new business, scale this, make great income, but be around for my family? And I call it the 5S. It's faith, family, finance, fitness, and friendships. How do I get those 5 things balanced in my life and have a successful business? And the first thing I learned and people, because they always tell you need work-life balance, right? And I really despise those cliches.
Oh, me too.
Because they tell you, then they walk away like they've done it and you haven't. And you can't give me clue 1 how to make that happen. Okay. So I'm like, I help my business owners do that, right? That's part of what I do. But priority 1 is you got to fix your business. I have to fix your business because you can't get to the 5 F's if your business is a hot mess because you're trapped there. You're in the owner prison, right? It owns you. You are there to serve your business, not the business serve you. It's all backwards, right? So we fix that in a short period of time, get them where they focus only on the 5% of the business that they can do, right? Literally, vision, some growth, bringing in big clients, things like that. And everything else is systemized process. Everyone's running. It's self-running now, right? Now let's talk about the 5 F's. Now we can work on those things, right? Now you have margin in your life to be able to do that. Now you can start to create balance, but if you think you can have a messed up business and have balance in your life, you can't. You have to start with a business because that's how you live. That's how you feed your family.
So you talk about balance. I want to interject here. And we both agree that, you got to have that work-life balance that people talk about all the time. It's all just talking out their butt, right? They don't they've got nothing to prove that they've accomplished, yet they're spewing the words. And I agree with your 5. Like I read quite a bit about that yesterday, and I was thinking about that, and it come to my mind that though you get to that place in your life, I want to know what your thoughts are as an introduction in your origin. Do you think it's something that you can just stop once you create that do you think it's perpetual motion, and those 5 key things in your life for balance are just going to work, or do you have to always work it and be cognizant of what you're doing within those 5?
I don't think, and I'll relate to what you know really well, talk finance, you know what it is. When you don't pay attention to something, they'll usually leave. Don't pay attention to your wife. She's going to leave. Don't pay attention to your money. It's going to leave. It's going to evaporate and go other places, right? Without your awareness, right? Your friends. Don't pay attention to your friends. They're going to leave. Don't pay attention to your family. You're going to be estranged, right? Don't pay attention to your faith. And from my Christian view, it's draw close to him, he'll draw close to you.
Absolutely.
You have to take the first step, right? So God is there, but you got to make the first step. So I know there's no perpetual anything. It's always work. Like marriage, I tell my kids, marriage is work. Don't ever think it's not going to be work. It can be easier.
Yeah.
But let's hear it. Let's hear it.
On the work side of it, though, when people hear the word work, what do most people feel? If they have body triggers and understand their body triggers, it's like, oh, more effort, but it's not. So when Richard's saying work, it's a good work. If you enjoy the journey of life and realize and have gratefulness, and for me, as a Christian, just like yourself, and I have gratefulness about stuff, and I take the worst scenarios and I force myself to find the good in it. Sometimes it's almost impossible, but I appreciate, I have gratefulness and gratitude. It's not work. And if you want to call it work, it's good work, because I know the end result is I'm going to have better faith. I'm going to have better family. I'm going to have better everything. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand people that sit back and think that life, I've arrived. I don't think you ever arrive. I think you have to work on your life to continue to be climbing in your mindset and all those 5 factors you talk about until the day you take your last breath. And I believe then you age better, you're happier, and you pass away and die with dignity. One of my, I help people live better today, retire in comfort, and die with dignity. And people get offended by that. Well, how do you do that? Well, let's talk about it. Are you willing to put in some effort? Are you willing to set aside your bad ego? Because ego can be good or bad. That's another thing I hear all the time. Oh, ego is bad. No, it's not. You can have good ego with confidence, like you're talking about with your water features and stuff. And you can have bad ego where all you do is, brag to everybody about how great you are. And you never have words of affirmation for other. You never praise God and are grateful for the fact, oh, wow, I just did this. Thank you, God, for giving me the talents to do that, or whatever. I digress anyway.
No, you're right on point, because work is good. And
it is.
I'll give you one more biblical point on that.
Sure.
It's the first thing God told Adam to do when he put him on the earth. Work, tend the garden. Work is God-given. Now the bad news is Adam sinned, and now we got weeds, and we got work is really it's a turmoil, it's toil now, right? So some of it, but like you're saying, if you're not, it's like we're advancing constantly, kind of thing. We want to do that. We want to improve our friendships. We want to improve our faith, our finances, our family. I want it to be better. I don't want my kids to go away and never call me. My son called me an hour before we got on the show, because he's in San Francisco, flying to Quantico, Virginia, doing that because he's going to MSG school now from, SOI. And it's like, that to see his name come up on my phone, love it.
But what's the level of gladness? Like that fuzzy, yeah. I tell people it's a fuzzy feeling. Like my son works like 6 hours north of here. He's like, my kids are all adults, and he's 25, and he works 3 weeks on, and then he comes back to the city. I get to see him, but he calls me every day. Yep. And I love it. I look forward to that. And sometimes I'll get sidetracked and it's 9-10 o'clock at night, and I never heard from him. And it's because he's got other people he works with. Maybe they've gone out for supper together, and, maybe they've gone for a beer or whatever. But I look forward to that. And that tells me that I have a connection. And people will say, well, I never hear from my kids. That's kind of weird. And that's a you issue if you think that's weird, that my kids want to communicate with me, and we have the ability to communicate. Am I as close with all 5? No, not necessarily, because 4 of them are daughters and 1's a son. But it's awesome to hear that your son called you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just so great we've done so much together. Again, homeschooling is part of that too, right? We're much closer because we're around each other a lot. Right. We teach, we take them on the field trips, we travel with them. There's a different connection that way. So I think that's, again, part of a legacy too, as they grow, because I want them to have caught that and do that with their family. Totally their choice. But like, I wanted to understand that family togetherness is really important. It's very strong. And I love how my kids communicate with each other and the connection they have. They're
That's
not all
awesome.
different people, and there's tons of stories, but it's so, again, that epiphany I had in 08, 09, that changed everything for me. Really understanding what's important. And I love business. I mean, I'm a business coach, right? I help people all the time. I'll talk about business all the time. But like you're saying about ego too, mine was a big ego pride issue. That first 20, they got me in trouble because I wouldn't ask for help, no matter who it was. I had billionaire clients giving me bits of advice. You think I'd take it? Nah. What do they know? Okay, so I mean, I was just an idiot. Okay, I'm a Marine. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to just work harder. I'm going to work longer. I'm going to make it happen. I did, but all the little things and everything they told me, they were right, but I just didn't do them, so I'm not that person anymore. I tell
But
that
you
to my
evolved
kids too.
past it, though. You
You
evolved
have to,
past it,
right?
right? So your Marine teaching taught you to be specifically tunnel focused for certain things,
Mhm.
and then you graduated above that. So that tells me, I'm going to dial this back to where I wrote a note down here about one friend, one school. You had the ability to adapt and be tenacious about adapting. You knew one kid, one school, like one school, one kid, but dial it all the way back to you finishing, being a Marine and having to evolve and adapt again past that. Some of that from your childhood come obviously into your adulthood and how you evolved. And because I do know quite a few people that have been in the military that never adapt and evolve past that. They're always so rigid. So that congratulations to you. From your childhood, you've learned. I'm not saying your childhood is a reason you continue to adapt. You
Right,
decided. You
right.
did. We always got to give ourselves credit. You decided to be that person that's going to evolve, even though you went through all these schools, like all the notes are wrote down from your GPA being low. Well, that doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means that you're a person that learned differently.
Right,
And I find the most successful people aren't book smart.
right,
And that's
right.
just my opinion. They're people that have gone through challenges like you, adapted, learn, and grow. And look where you've gone.
Yeah, I think you've probably read the book. Have you read the book Grit by Angela
No,
Duckworth?
no, I haven't.
If you ever get a chance, get the book Grit. She's a researcher. It came out a couple of years ago. Phenomenal book. And I mean, you're talking 300 pages and it's research. She interviewed and researched some of the people who've done the biggest things in the world, right? The highest accomplished people and everything else. And she came down to, it's not schooling, it's not intelligence, it's none of those things that Harvard will say or anyone else will say. She goes, it's grit, the ability to stay in, to push through everything, the perseverance, that grit. She goes, that's what made them great. Nothing else. They just didn't quit. Right. And she has a little thing, you take a test and see what your grit score is. So I took the test. Dwight, can you imagine what I scored? 97% on the grit score. Okay. So I'm up there. I'm not much of a quitter.
Your
So
level of tenacity is high,
yeah, I
right?
can, I'm about mission accomplishment, no matter what.
Well,
So,
really, at the end of the day, whether you call it grit, whether you call it, are you resilient or are
right.
you a person that's tenacious? All of that is a form of superpower, right? It's
Exactly.
something that
Exactly.
that we have that seed, but you had the ability to water it, right?
Right.
And you were
Right.
stubborn. I like how you were honest about billionaires giving you advice, but you kept on, all of a sudden you have an epiphany and you realize, hey, that advice was right. But that's okay. And the reason I say this, people watching or listening, you can trip, skin your knee, get back up, start over again. I don't care if you're a business owner, because I coach them not to the level of you, but with my finance practice,
Mhm.
individuals, whether you're in a job, a career, or you're a person that's a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, you just got to have some grit. You got to go out and
Yeah.
actually put in the effort and don't be afraid to be criticized, skinning your knee, whatever. At the end of the day, have that connection to family. Like, I love everything that you're talking about. See, for me, I have 3 core values that break out into multiple levels. My first core value that I live by is my faith. Then it's family, then it's work. Work isn't the top. Because if I
Right.
don't have the
Oh,
other two,
yeah.
what is I need work to support my family, to help them when they went through college, university, to do different things that have helped them accomplish things in their lives. but I got more back from them than I ever invested in them. And people say, what do you mean? Well, I got friends now for life. I've got, they brag about me, they support me, and I give them this little bit of stuff to help them get to this age, to get through college, university. I give them a little bit of support. Now it feeds back for the rest of my life. So I focused, and God feeds back to me. I feel better about myself. And, it's just people take for granted what they have in front of them.
Yeah, so true. I mean, and that's what I do, the same thing, because I have excuse me, I got a pretty good regiment in the morning ritual, if you will. So pardon me. So 4 a.m. wake up. Okay. So I do 32 ounces of water within 10 minutes of waking up. I down that. 2 cups of coffee, which is a special mushroom blend. It's a layered superfood mushroom blend, dark roast. Oh, Peruvian high altitude coffee.
Awesome.
Listen, oh, it's the most amazing thing. And a little scoop of performance mushrooms in there, and it's really good. Then I do my Bible study, right? I do that for about an hour. I hit the gym, leave for 5:30, go to the gym, get an intense workout in for an hour, ladder up, hitting the bags, keep the skills sharp, doing all that. Come home, make my food, get cleaned up, get on with the day. Right. So for my first 4 hours, I'm pretty dialed in every morning. And those rituals, that has really helped me to again, putting that faith first like you do, that is priority. So in my walk, in my walk, with Jesus, it's faith, right? It's God first, and then it's family, but there's an order in there too. It's my wife, then my children. Okay. And I think if people look at themselves, they'll say, is that how it works in my house? Is my wife come before my children? Because you get 6 children. Well, see what comes first.
Well, what happens when you don't put your wife first or your significant other? I had that weakness. For those some people in that listen to my show might not realize, like I'm divorced. Well, when I look back, it was easy to point the finger, but I was too connected to work. I wasn't connected enough to my family. My core values weren't cemented, or because it was my early 20s when I had my first business. And it could have been so much better had I realized that she's working, I'm working, we come home, we're busy working about the kids and cooking and getting this, laundry, getting kids to bed. Then the next thing you know, it's bedtime. We haven't communicated. We forgot about one another. And you start slowly separating from one another. And it's just, I loved how you say that. You have to worry first about your significant other. And I wish I would have had that told me back in my 20s, and had that structure of faith, family, work already in my life, because I do have, like I said, I have sub things within my
Mhm.
categories of family and faith and work too. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And there's, when we talk about how we kind of are disdain for the cliches, date night is another one. Okay. You got to have a date night. I'm like, oh, okay, listen, if I'm going to save it up for one day a week, okay, I'm failing my wife. Okay. So what you're saying by date night is basically everything else is before your wife. Like, till Thursday night at 7 p.m., we go to dinner for an hour and a half. Okay. Not a good plan. That's failure. Okay. You've got to make this work every day. And I'm not saying I'm the champion. Listen, I'm a work in progress on this too. But like you're talking about the communication and everything else, it's a whole, we could do a whole nother show on just that topic alone. Right. So just people be careful with what the work-life balance. Someone says that date night, this stuff. I mean, I get it. They're catchy and they can say this stuff, but no one is going to give you depth on those subjects because they haven't done it. Right. They just haven't done it. They're saying it because it sounds good. It tickles your ears, but it's not gonna change your relationship. There's so much more to it. So that's one of the big things I've learned over time. It's like I hear things from people and I'm like, and this can be from coaches too. I'll throw a few under the bus. I go, that sounds nice, but I'm kind of a in the trenches guy, and that don't work.
Well, you got to be able to
That,
correct on the fly too, though. Like how
that's
many
right.
coaches or people in life, they'll learn one thing that really drives me crazy. And I'm pretty close to it some days when I listen to even my clients and stuff. They have excuses. They're not worried about success, and they'll tell you, well, this is what we do, this is how we do it. And then there's a change. And I'll question that person or persons or a group. Well, this is a change that's happened, yet you're still spewing the same stuff.
Mhm.
It's okay to say to people, well, I don't want people to criticize and say, oh, I used to believe this. When I get challenged all the time, I'll say, you know what? You're right. I did used to believe that.
Mhm.
Now I've evolved. I've climbed in my mindset. Now I believe this, and here's why. But thank you for, listening enough to realize that I changed. So
Right.
I
Right.
turn it around, even if it's criticism, and I thank them for their, their positive criticism of me to make it so that I continue to share now that new information. How many people are fearful of that? They still
Right.
spew the same garbage about life.
Yeah. I have clients been with me for years, and I always tell them like, hey, I'm not your coach for life. Probably there's always another coach. There's always another level. I'll get to this, but I've been here for a lot of years, and I learn new things, but also we approach new problems. Your business is never going to be perfect. There's always going to be these tactical issues, right, that flare up, and I love those. That's why I'm different, kind of because like, oh, I handle that. I'll put that out right now. Get on the I again maybe an hour and a half before on my way in this morning to the office. One of my clients called me. I've been chewing on this. Can I you got 5 minutes? Jump on the phone and boom, walk them through it, solve it, good to go. Okay, man, have a great day. You know me, I love that stuff because you are learning, right? You're exchanging and learning. That stuff's really important. And there's always new information. That's why things should change. How can you take in new information and it doesn't affect you? That's like reading a book going, that was the best book I've ever read, put it on the shelf and never implement anything from the book. Okay, that's just head knowledge. That's no good. So I'm, very hands-on. So I've got a equation. It's in the book, but it's D plus A minus E times C equals results. So D is desire plus action. Okay. So you can have the desire, that's your dream, right? That's your dream. You want to do something, but you have to take action, right? If you don't take action, it's just a thing that'll stay on your pillow, right? It'll never leave your pillow. The E minus E is minus excuses. Okay. We don't accept excuses at all. Okay. Now go outside the parentheses times C. C is competition. Now it's a broad term because there's competition in the sport, there's competition with your competitors in business, but there's also competition with yourself. Interiorly, interior inside your business, there's competition. So there's always that element because you need that push, right? You need that challenge. So that's an important factor. So you take the first three, multiply by that, you get results. That's how you're going to get it. And I'm a big results guy. I'm like a results coach, right? That's my thing. I want to make sure that we get measurable results, but you have to have a formula. You can't just dream. Imperfect action. We take imperfect action all the time. We were talking about this before we started recording, right? Just get it out there, fix it on the fly. We got to put stuff together. Just get me a prototype. Let's go break it. Let's see what happens. Let's get it on the market. Let's see what we can do. Let's get feedback, and then we'll continue to improve. We can't, otherwise this, paralysis by analysis, right? You're getting ready to get ready. You're always wanting to perfect it. Like there is no perfection. There's doing, there's imperfect action, and that's what you want to take. So I've
I
kind
love
of
the
built
formula.
that. Yeah,
That's a good formula.
I kind of built that. I had on my gym wall. I owned a gym. I put that formula on the wall, and it's on my shirts. It's on shirts and everything else. I got a shirt I made for my son. I was training him. He wanted to go to the Junior Olympics in the 800 meter. So I trained him. So like, I'll get to train. We ran cross country and we're going to do that. So we had another team and we were on a team. We kind of left the team. It was a homeschool team, but the coach there was so into the talent. There's like 85 kids on the team. And out of 85, you're going to have like 3 talented kids, like who are like really good. Like
Yeah.
that's your normal average, right? These kids just want to go run and do stuff, right? So she's so obsessed with talent. It like bottom, like, man, there's like 80 other kids here. Like they just want to do the best they can do. So I'm going to coach them. I'm going to try to make them really good, right? So I'm doing that with this middle school group, so training my son. So now we kind of left that group because there's whatever, too long of a story to talk to. But I said, so we made these shirts that had that equation on the back. On the front, I put it in big white letters. There's these blue shirts. It said, we outwork your talent every day. That was our motto. Like, because we outworked them. We out train you. We run harder. We do more work. And not longer, just more. So we do an hour what they can't even get done in 2 hours, right? Very intense and stuff like that. And I always thought that work ethic was something I wanted to instill. And that equation is part of it. So we'd have that down the sleeve and stuff like that. And people look like, what is that? And they'd ask. I said, well, this is kind of the mantra. This is the thing we're going to live by. We have to understand that these are the components of what this takes.
That's awesome. It's I have a friend of mine, he speaks on stage and he speaks about something. He just ABC, action, belief, consistency, which is similar to what you're talking about, and breaks it down. And his talk on it is so powerful, and it's only like about 9 minutes long.
Right.
Right? He just literally, it's like he's done talking, mic drop, walks off the stage, and he's become one of my best friends. He lives in Texas. And I just think to myself, people just want stuff to, look at the book, The Secret, for an example. And I'm not here to insult or cut down The Secret. I'm here to say to people, if you think you can sit on your couch or sit at wherever and have, wish things into existence, you're sadly mistaken. You need to have a formula like you're talking about, or ABCs. You need to take action. You got to, your belief in what you want to do involves you taking action. And then being consistent, even when you have days of suckage or
Right.
moments of suckage, right? You just got to keep on pushing forward. You can't expect things to materialize without some actual tangible work and effort. Now, some people work too much because they don't have procedures or processes in place. That can be fixed. Work can't be fixed if you don't work. You got to be able to put in some effort and put your foot on the gas, right? The rest will fix itself if you're willing to be fixed. As you mentioned earlier too about coaches, you might not have the same coach forever, but are you evolving? Are you getting a different type of coach for this problem that you're having now? Maybe you have a all-around coach that can coach you on everything and you're looking for more specifics. My point to everybody listening, watching, and you already know this, you've got to put in effort. You got to be willing to put yourself out of your comfort zone, because even though it's a cliche, but it's true, nothing great in life is achieved and unless it's outside your comfort zone. Quit being comfortable and you'll achieve things, right? Baby steps, running. I don't care what you want to do, but do something.
Yeah. I always tell people, do hard things.
Yeah.
I just tell men, I can head our men's ministry at our church, and I have this breakfast I cook, and 50 guys or whatever. And we have some younger guys there. And I'm like, guys, do hard things, man. Find hard things to do. Do things that you just can't do. Like, make that like part of your life. Go to the next challenge. I don't care if it's you want to run a marathon or lift something heavy. I don't care what it is, but train, do hard things. If it means something, if it means learn how to edit your videos, to me, that'd be a nightmare. Okay. That'd be the hardest thing I'd probably ever do, having to do something like that. So
everything I've done in the last, let's say 4 or 5 years, creating my Give a Heck brand. When I first thought about it, I get sweaty on my bald head, or I get, I get the sweat pockets here. And I think to myself, that's a great thought, or that's great what I'm doing. It's taking me out of my comfort zone, and my body's telling me, I'm uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable, but whatever. You're right, though. We have to push ourselves, right?
Yeah. When I'm at the gym and I go, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, and I'm hitting a heavy bag, or I'm shadowboxing like today, and I'll do 8-10 rounds, and I throw a lot of shots, right? And this is the competition part. I'll make sure no one in the gym is outworking me. Okay. I'm there to terrify people. Okay. I am working so hard. Every shot I throw is hard. I throw 3 to 6 shots at a time, no single shot. I mean, I work, I jump rope, I do all this stuff. I come out lathered. Entire shirt is sweaty, shorts are sweaty. I'm working. I love it. I love to do that, and I just work, and I'm not the youngest guy in the gym. And I look around and I got this thing I realized the other day, Dwight. I'm like looking, I'm in the gym. It's the Y, it's a beautiful place. And you know what I realized? I think the laziest people in the world are at the gym. They're sitting on a machine looking at their phone, 5 minutes, 10 minutes between the set.
Or they're
all this stuff.
posing, they're
They're
posing and
posed,
taking
taking
selfies and
pictures.
yeah.
Two guys on the incline bench. They're both on their phones. One guy's spotting them. He's sitting there, not talking to each other. Man, I'm just going to show my age, but back in the day when we worked out, had a training partner, it was about the work. Come on, man, let's get it. And getting that one more pushing and then talking about the next set. That was our conversation. It was all about the workout, or whatever. It was not, we didn't have the phone thing, but still these kids are in a different world seeing
They're not focused. They're not
Yeah.
focused on what the end result that they're looking for. If they had an end result and then put a process in place, like you're saying, and communicate with their workout partner or trainer, like, come on, your life would be
I'm
so
like,
better.
and I'm just like, you're not. I'm doing time sets. I have 3-minute round, 1-minute rest. I'm doing that. I'm doing 30 seconds on this and that. I guarantee you, none of you are looking at your phone checking the time. Okay, for your next set. Okay, you're scrolling Facebook or Instagram, whatever you're doing. But I want to go up. I learned now to just shut it off and put the blinders on because it used to drive me bananas. I want to get my DI hat and go up a knife hand. I'm like, what are you doing? Just tell them, like, this is pathetic. You got to work. Get out of the way. But it's just an interesting place, the gym. You see a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I want to talk a little bit more, unless there's something else you'd like to add in regards to your origin. I want to talk more about your book, right? Escape the Owner Prison, right? You detail your story and how business owners can escape themselves. I know writing my own book, I found it very cathartic. I found it very, like, even though I had been doing the processes in my life up to writing the book and releasing it in 2021, there was things that I didn't realize that I was either really good at or I had weaknesses. It was a process for me, right? It actually showed me and it laid out what I had already been doing in a more succinct fashion, right? And it gave me more strength to want to even help people even more. It gave me a pep in my step. I don't know if that's the same for you, but did the process of writing a book help you become even more better and more resilient in what you do in your life?
Yeah, I think when you lay it out, now I know this will bum people out, but like writing my book was effortless because it was in me. It just was in me. I'm like, oh, I just made this little outline. Now I did get an editor. The cool thing with the editor, like, and I'm standing at my kitchen counter writing a book. I just stood there and I'm just writing, and I'd send her a chapter. I'd send her next chapter. And she come back with like, and this is what a great editor does, right? She literally could move like one word in a sentence or add a comma, and it's like, it's perfect. She didn't rewrite stuff. She almost didn't do that at all. It was just either punctuation or like, well, maybe put this word here. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant.
That's valuable though.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You can't, that's like, to me, that's like genius level stuff. When you can do that and not try to change a guy's story, and it still makes perfect sense. It just read even better, because it's not like I've never written anything before. I've written since I was a kid. That was one of my escapes was writing. So I would do stuff, but that was really cool. And I knock it out and I go, well, what's next? And she goes, well, I don't know. No one's ever got a book done so fast. So, well, what do we got to do? Okay, I'll publish it. So I get it all published and everything else becomes a bestseller, and that was great. But for me, lining it up and showing, because as I started coaching people, I started building those new businesses after 0809, starting over, relocating, doing all this stuff. And people started asking me to help them with their business because, like, well, you did it, and I started seeing patterns, right? It's the same patterns, and all these owners. I'm like, oh, so the book was kind of like, okay, well, here's how to fix all those patterns. This is why you're stuck. This is why you work hard your first 2 years. And then next thing you know, 10 years has gone by and you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times. And that's why you haven't scaled. And you're making money, but you're not making really great money. You can maybe take a week of vacation, 2 weeks if you're lucky, but you're calling in every other day to make sure that no one's burned the place down, right? You're trapped in the owner prison. That's what that is. So I'm like, I can fix that. I can help them run a better business. I did all that. So I put all this stuff in the book. I was like, and for me, like you're saying, Dwight, that was like, wow, this is really good. I'm really kind of gifted at helping people because I'm a trainer. I can train people. There's teachers and trainers. That's what I always tell people. Teachers are going to tell you what to do. Like, hey, do 25 push-ups and they're going to leave. Well, I'm going to tell you to do 25. I'm going to get on my face with you. I'm going to bang out the first couple, making sure you're doing it right. And I'm going to stay there till you finish the 25. Okay. Then you get up and we'll do what's next. Right. So it's just a different mindset for me. So you talk about like being in the trenches and theory and all that stuff. So I'm very practical application. So I started seeing that kind of gifting. And that's when I started doing the tactical stuff, solve problem, solve. Like, okay, but now we need strategy. We got to fix this permanently. So I learned how to do that. And the book really helped me get that organized. So people can read that. And I wanted to be able to take something away from the book. It's never fun when you read a book and you really can't do anything that was in it. It sounds good, but you don't know how to apply it. So I wanted to give them some practical application, but I also built an academy around the book. So it was called the ETOP for Escape the Owner Prison Academy. So I used that to also launch into an academy where I could teach people and coach people. So you got the book and then bringing them and go big time, right? We go months and a year or whatever. So that's where all that started back in 2019 when I got that out. And it was, yeah. So I think that was really the catalyst of everything with that book. Again, combining my story, weaving my story in there. So they really understand I'm a guy who did really good and then failed tremendously and then had to kind of come back from that, but fix it and do it right this time. And it's that journey. So you can, so people, I think they can relate a little bit to that.
Well, that's the best type of book. It's no different than going on stage and speaking to people. You're taking them on a journey. You got the highs, you got the lows, and then the end result, here's what I accomplished. And this can work for you too, right? And that's the best type of book. I get tired of these books and I'm an Audible fan. I read so much of my finance business. For me to read a book, it's like a sedative. It puts me to sleep. It's not because the book's bad. It's because I get lulled to sleep. So I use Audible a lot, and I'm listening to some of these books, and I get to the end of it, or some of them. I never ever thought I'd be that person where I couldn't finish a book. I've actually gotten books where I just cannot finish them. They're not. Somebody recommends it. I'll buy it. I'm listening to it, and it's just like, okay, we're halfway through the book and I still don't know your point, or I still don't know what I'm being taught or being educated on, right? So to have a book like you're talking about, where you take a person through your journey, your ups and downs, and take them to the end and give them confidence that they can go and slay the day, that's perfect. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's funny about it. I remember the first book I couldn't finish because I am a finisher. Okay, I'm not. I don't like things unfinished. You know what that book was? It was The Jungle by Upton Sinclair.
Oh, really?
I've never so miserably. Don't bother. Just know you don't need to read it. I mean, it just got to a point. I think it was page 170 is where I stopped. And I read this a long time ago because I'm reading the great books. But great books are the ones that no one reads. Classics are as Mark Twain said, are the books no one reads, right? So I'm like, I read that going, now I know why, but I just remember that. But there are some books I don't finish, just like you. There's some that are just not going.
I never used to be like that, but as I get older, I have a tolerance for things, but I don't have a tolerance to invest time that I know I can never get back into something that's got no value for me. And sometimes I don't even make it halfway through the book. I started one here just recently, and it was one of my podcast guests, and I can't get every single book. I've had 200 episodes and probably 50, 60 people are authors. And I just, something about her, I thought, oh, I'm going to get her book. And I got it on Audible and I made like 2 chapters into it. And I had bought the book and I gave it away as gifts to some friends and stuff because it was based on First Corinthians. And literally my one daughter reached out to me and said, Dad, I don't take this the wrong way. Where are you at in that book? I said, honestly, hon, I quit after the second chapter. She says, I made it to like chapter 4. I just can't finish it. And she has never not finished a book.
Right.
Right. Ever. And she's in her 30s. And I went, I'm sorry. I thought it was going to be good. The interview was good. I thought the vibe was there and that it was going to be in the book. So I got it for myself on Audible and I ordered, she likes print books. I ordered her a book and gave her one. I give one to my mom. Didn't. My mom's super into anything to do with Christianity and especially First Corinthians. And she finished it. She says, it was okay. Right. She's in her 80s. Right. It's just,
she powered through. Yeah.
She powered through it, but I I don't believe in powering through anything. And I'm not a quitter either. Quitters never
Right.
win and winners never
Right.
quit. Like,
Right.
like Les Brown would say. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's not quitting. It's just realizing your time's better invested elsewhere.
Value. Yeah. It's understanding value.
That's
That's
all.
what it is.
Yeah.
When a book is not bringing me value, you can't continue open. You're going to find a nugget. It's like you can go to a conference and you're kind of stuck there for the hour. Not really. You can always get up and leave, but you're trying to get something, right? Even once you usually can pull some nugget from something, but there are things that are just not there.
Oh,
Books that are
absolutely.
Yeah, I've been in courses like that too that I've had to quit because I'm like, in particular, I'm not going to get it. It's just too funny. But people in videos and I quit this one because of this one word. You ready for the word?
Yeah.
Um, like all of it, it was like brain death. It was just constant like brain stoppage. All the time, like video after video. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm never getting certified in this. Never.
Yeah.
I can't listen to this woman. Okay. If I hear one word, I'm gonna die. So yeah, it's crazy, man, but it's good.
But you know what, though, what this says about you and I, and there's probably a lot of people watching, listening that are the same way. We're always evolving. We're not afraid to say, this is what I used to be. I would never ever not finish a book. But now I've evolved in my mindset, realizing, okay, if I finish this book and I invest another 3, 4, 5 hours, I could utilize that on something that was
Mhm.
more, pertinent to my life. To maybe I could have used that more in my core values of spending more time in my faith or my family instead of
Mhm.
wasting it because I used to be this way,
Right.
stringent. Now I'm more flexible, and
Right.
that's not a bad thing. Those listening, watching, understanding that you can go from being somebody that's very stringent, locked into what you do, to being flexible and flow like a river, right? Things can change. That's evolution, right? My life's been an evolution of that.
Yeah, you have to. The adaptability, I think, is a critical element in if you want to move forward, if you want to become better, and better is just degrees. It's all degrees as we move along, and you have to have the openness. Now, there's there's open-mindedness and there's closed-mindedness, and they both have value. Closed-mindedness can be like on my principles, okay, my belief, my faith. I have a closed mind of that. I'm there, right? I'm locked into that. There's an open-mindedness to new things, to learning, things like that, right? Things I'm going to bring in, new ideas, new ways to do things, innovation. I'm a big innovator. I love to innovate stuff. So I have a good balance between the two. But again, I have a core, like you're saying, you've got your core values, right? You got your 3 core values and then subs from there. Same thing. You have that, but everyone needs a foundation. But then when you're building, you can continue to build by learning new things, getting new materials, right? Do things that are going to last longer, or do different things. So you want to have that ability and there's stuff you can take in and go, well, that's garbage, and you throw it out, right? So that's critical thinking. Like someone gives me this idea of this, and this. I'm like, okay, well, here's why I don't think it's going to work, and that's this. I'm not going to use that, right? I don't just accept it because it's different, right? I have to analyze what it is. I have to use my own experience against something that's similar, just like my clients do, bounce off an idea. That's what I'm a sounding board. Well, have you considered this if this happens? Right. And then you throw it back in front of them, go, oh yeah, that wouldn't work too good, would it? No, it wouldn't. So, but they're thinking though, right? They're trying to find that new way. And I love that. So
Well, they're
always
evolving, right? That's a
right.
good thing.
And that's
Yeah.
what we want, to be surrounded by good counsel, right? There's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. Right? We want to make sure that we have the right people to go to, and let's try out these ideas. If you come up with something, people, bounce it off them, find out what their experience is. What have they ever done this, and use that. That's like me, that first 20 never asked for help. I wouldn't do that because that was weakness. Okay. But it's strength, that ability to go to wisdom and get wisdom on whatever you're deciding to do, especially big decisions. That's strength. That takes courage, right? That's when you put your ego in a box, and you're able to go and humble yourself and say, man, I don't know what to do with this, man. Can you help me? and that's what we
Well,
do.
it's
That's
back to that vulnerability. It's okay to admit that you're weak in some area, or you think you know something and you've implemented it, you're not seeing the results, to say to somebody, here's what I'm doing. What do you
right,
see? Maybe you can see the forest for the trees. Maybe you have because everybody looks through their own lenses, right?
right.
Everybody looks at stuff. Sometimes our lenses are quite similar, but there's always, I find, a little bit of differentiation between what Richard would see something. We could be in a room of 100 people and I'll say, what do you see, Richard? Or what did you hear in this conversation of that speaker? And you and I'll have overlapping stuff, but there'll also be things that Richard will say, wow, I blah, blah, blah. And I'll go, wow, I never thought about that. Or, you know what? I completely missed that. Right. That's why a lot of times when I go now and I listen to people, I like recording it. I'll have my
Right.
voice memo on so I can go back and go, Richard was saying this. I want to hear that. Oh wow. Because our minds are different. People watching, listening, we can literally stay focused, but we also can have variance in our thought processes and we can drift. Wouldn't you
I
agree?
yeah, I help a friend down another office down here in a place. And I'm talking about his business. And I get in there and I go, listen, you gotta learn something about me. You know how you can play an impromptu piece on the piano? Like once you just play it and it's gone forever kind of thing. Well, that's how I am with thoughts. Like we start talking about something you might want to have record on because you're going to ask me, well, I won't remember, but it'll be brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
I throw stuff out, but don't, well, what were you saying about it? I go, I have no idea. You got to pay attention.
Even being a podcast guest, sometimes I'll listen back to an episode where I was a guest, or
Yeah.
even my own show. I'll listen to my game, like just like a coach, go over my game tape, and I'll
Right.
think, wow, that was pretty profound.
Yeah. I do that all the
Right.
time. Yeah. I do it
Oh
all the time.
yeah. I
I,
forgot I said that, or I forgot I
yeah.
heard that. Right. So
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, but there's just times when we get in the zone, if it's our zone of genius where we're really gifted and we're good at, that is how it is. Like I may have never said that before in my life. And at that moment, I said it for the first time. And these people heard it because of whatever they were asking or saying. It's just, it's not like I'm I look for the right recording to play back. It's just like you think of new things. That's the
you're being your
adaptability part.
genuine self, though. You're
Right,
being your
right.
genuine self, and all of a sudden we have those, like I call it, you can have a good brain fart or a bad brain fart. You just
That's
all of a
right.
sudden poof, oh wow. And I've done that too. I've had people say, I can't believe you said that. Said what? And they'll
Right,
say that to me and go, oh, I kind of remember it, because our brain,
mm,
giant computer, records
right,
everything.
right,
And then we'll have a conversation. But if they wouldn't have brought it up, I probably would have never, might not have ever thought about that, what I communicated with them about. So I
right.
appreciate you bringing that up. That is so
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's that's why I love life.
Me too, brother.
It's just great stuff, man. Like it's just
So
always fun.
it is good. So, I'm going to skip through some stuff here, and I got two questions I want to ask you about business, and then we'll wrap up the show. Um, Richard, most of my businesses have been built through referrals, right? I was a computer IT consultant. I had a retail computer store, a service store for just about a decade. Then I've been in the finance world for 21 years. And I never did a lot of marketing. I never ever had to. A lot of it was word of mouth, it was referrals. And most people, it's underrated, underutilized, right? They don't understand how it can help them generate profit within their business and also continue to foster the relationships, because the person that's giving that referral, that's a relationship that you can continue to, foster. I know in my business, when the pandemic hit, and even 08, 09, right? Obviously that hurt my finance business.
Yeah.
The pandemic hit, that happened, all my referrals dried up, right? And I had it happen to me a few times, as I mentioned, the last 21 years. What would you suggest is a way to keep it so that referrals don't dry up?
So we'll go right back to the one word you said is relationships. Okay, referrals are relationships. They're not a tool. Okay, they're not a tool. They're not something you go, hey, anyone who needs my service, hey, I'll give you $200 if you refer someone to me. Like there's so much we can talk about in this. The whole pay someone if they refer someone to you. Let me explain a couple reasons why that doesn't work. The first reason is if it's me, you, Dwight, and Jane down the street. Okay. I just did work for you. Okay. You're really happy. I did a great job or whatever. Now Jane needs what I do. You can say, hey, you got to use Richard. Richard is the man. He'll do an awesome job for you. Everything else. Okay. Sounds good, right? That's a referral. So let me ask you, in that 3-person exchange there, whose name is at the greatest risk?
Whose name is at the greatest risk?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, getting put on the spot. Well, the
I
person
had to
with the
do it
name.
once for you. I had to do it once. I had to put you on the spot once.
Well, the person at the great, and that's the thing. I hate giving wrong answers, right? So I'm gonna defer it back to you and let you give me the answer. How's
Okay.
that?
It's good. That's the way to do it. Okay. So I'm the contractor. You're the guy. I did work for you. You're referring to Jane, right? You're referring me to Jane. Your name is at the greatest risk because I did work for you. I go work for Jane and I screw it up, right? I don't show up. I don't do it right. Blah, whatever the reason is. Yeah, Jane's not going to like me, but who am I? I'm a contractor. You told her to use me. What is she going to think about your opinion from now on?
Oh, it's tainted. And that's
Right.
what I've had happen in my own industry, right?
That,
People will
that
say, I'll say, why aren't you giving me referrals anymore? You used to give them to me all the time. Well, because of what went on, I'm afraid that if you go to help somebody, right, it's going to come back on me because now it's
right.
08, 09, or it's the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I get what you're saying.
So
I was at the biggest risk,
right.
or they were at the
So
biggest risk, pardon
yeah,
me. And that's why they
exactly.
didn't give me the
Right.
referrals anymore.
So that's it. That's the biggest sticking point. That's why people don't do it. So how do you overcome that? You don't have to. I'm going to answer this for you. I'm not going to put you on the spot. Okay. You overcome by that by making your clients, your customers, absolute raving fans. That means you're delivering above and beyond, delivering way more value than they're paying for. You're making it an incredible experience. I mean, the whole experience, not the end product. Because think about this, Dwight. You're a kitchen remodeler, right? Okay, you're a great kitchen remodeler. I'm gonna take a look at 5 different kitchens by 5 different contractors when they're finished, and they're all beautiful, right? Oh, they're amazing. That's amazing. That's got this island. This guy. Okay, go and let's talk to the homeowners. Wow, you got a beautiful kitchen. Wow, I mean, what? And they're like, yeah, it is, but I tell you what, I'll never do it again. Right? The experience. They didn't show up. They were loud. They were vulgar. They never talked to me. They just did stuff. It took forever to get this done and that done. You'll always hear all the horror stories, right? About the experience of everyone's got their construction horror stories. Whether it's a remodel, new build, whatever it is, everyone's got them, right? And you get 5 different stories, right? End product, all the same. So if it's only focused on the end product, there's no competition, right? The competition is in the experience. You becoming a raving fan is going to be experience, not necessarily the end product. Now, you have to do great work. It needs to be beautiful and perfect and, to the best of your ability, but the experience is what matters. That's what creates a raving fan. It's not the product. It's really important to understand that. Now, you need a great product, don't get me wrong, but if you can't tie a good experience with that, it diminishes the product. They're not thrilled about using it. Okay. If I want people to refer people to me and say we're like, cause I had a roofing business, right? So you get a storm, hailstorm, and you're knocking everyone's door and you're trying to get them all to do a roof replacement or whatever with their insurance. But I want them to call their friends because everyone's got hail damage. I want them to do it. Well, I'm not going to say everyone I get, I'll give you $200, right? Because money is nothing. Okay. You think people aren't motivated by money because is your good name worth only $200? If it gets tarnished because I messed up Jane's deal and now she doesn't like you so much, she doesn't like your opinion anymore, is that worth $200? I think not. Okay. So the money is out the window. So we did a little thing. I'm just giving you an example of what we did. It's called 10 to win, and we gamified it. So for every referral they gave me, they'd win a prize. one referral, dinner for two at this restaurant. Two would be this, 5 referrals, they get a laptop. This 10 referrals, they get a weekend in Vegas or whatever it is, right? Because what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to say, okay, here's how this game works. Okay, you choose the prize you want. Okay, what would you like out of this? Oh, I'd love a new laptop. Okay, well, that's only 6 referrals, right, that I have to close. So all you have to do is make the first introduction. So you chose that, right? And over the next year, if you get 6 referrals, the laptop's yours. I close those deals, right? Like, okay, so they do that and they make the introductions. I go out. Now, let's say I got 5 of the 6. So I call them up 8 months in. I go, okay, Mrs. Jones, I know you wanted that laptop and it only took 6 referrals. We are at 5. I've closed 5 of them that you give me so far. So let's see what we can do. Let's say maybe a church who still hasn't had their roof looked at or whatever it is, right? Oh, yeah. Then it breaks it down. They give me a couple more because they want that 6. Now, they get to the end of the year, they don't make it, they get number 5, right? But now they're getting something. Now, not only that, and here's the whole point of this. Let's say they get the laptop. Every time they open the laptop or use it, who do they get to think of? Me, right? $200. I'll take the kids out, buy some ice cream, go to lunch to my husband or my wife or whatever. And then it's gone and I don't remember anything. Don't remember who gave me the $200, right? It's just gone in the ether. So we want to attach it to something.
Well,
right?
Tangible connection. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but really, it really goes back to that experience. If you can make an incredible experience, that's how you're going to get referrals. They're not going to refer you because you have a great end product. It's like, well, if you've written, we both written books, right? How easy is it to get a review on a book? Not easy, right?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's unbelievable.
Even if I was just talking to a doctor client of mine and leave a referral. Oh yeah, I'll do it. Right. Like not a referral, pardon me, leave a review, right. On my book. I've been asking him for probably a year. I get to a point where it's not worth it because if I have to ask for it, I want it to be genuinely and organic. It's almost impossible that people have to type some nice words. Oh my goodness.
You can write it for them. They still won't post it.
Yeah.
I'm like, here, I'll write it for you. I know exactly what you want to say.
100%.
Post it from your IP address. Okay. Just help me out here. But yeah, they're the hardest thing to get. They're incredibly hard, right? No matter what. It's just, and me, since we're in the business, we've written books, I write reviews for people. I read the book, I write them a review. We do a podcast, I write you a review. I go on Apple, I do it immediately. And it's legit.
I do too. It's better to do it.
Yep.
It's a better, and for people listening, doing a review as soon as possible keeps it forefront of your mind, and it keeps it more genuine to what you're going to put. Try doing a review of a book or a podcast like 6 weeks later, 6 days later. It's not as good. You're better off to do it right away, and that's what I try to do as well.
Yeah, you end up doing the review. Great book, highly recommend. That's the review. Like, really?
Yeah, and somebody outside of that reading that, okay, that's your opinion. It's a great book. Why should I buy it?
Right. There's no detail.
Was it engaging? Did it give you good facts? Was there point by point knowledge that was shared? It was very relatable. Richard was just amazing. He was relatable. He taught me some steps that can help me move my business forward. Yet I don't talk about the steps because I want them to read your book, but I tell them that there's actionable things within Richard's book.
You know what I like to tell people? I said, so think about this. You want to know why you want to write a really good review like that? You got a chance of being on the back cover of my book. You know how they put reviews? Look at my book. I got reviews on there. Yeah. Like you have a chance if it's good because only the good reviews get on my book. So you go to the back cover of my book and you got people who wrote reviews and their names. I said, so if you write me a good one, you got a chance in the next printing. You're on the back of the book. Have you ever been on a book? Have you ever been on the cover of a book? I'll bet you haven't. This is your chance. So yeah. I try to give a little simple, let's inflate the ego there a little bit, and try to get them to do that. But yeah, so back to the referral thing, just to wrap this up. the experience is what's going to get it, and to understand whose name is at risk. I think that's the primary focus. And when you can dial in your experience so you can create a raving fan, and you maintain the relationship. So the relationship means you don't get done with the job, shake their hand, get a check, send them a box of cookies, thanks, you're awesome. It can't end there. So we call it LPV, lifetime profitable value. Now, if they built a kitchen with them, they're probably going to want to do a bathroom eventually, or maybe a great room, or they're going to get a new house that needs to be remodeled. And who do you want them to call? You, right? So a lifetime profitable value is how much you're worth as a customer. Let's use a car dealer. Okay, a car dealer as an example. Me and my wife, and I have 6 children who all drive now. So if we buy a new car every 3 to 4 years for me and my wife, there's 2 cars every 4 years, 30, 40, 50, who knows what they are now. They're like 60,000 for a basic car. It's ridiculous, right? But we're gonna spend that. Then I got 6 kids. Think of what I'm worth of that dealership over the next 20 to 30 years. I am a 7 to multi 7 figure customer. Every 3, 4 years, I'm spending 100,000, 200,000. You want to keep me. I mean, there's dealers everywhere. So why would I continue to go to you? And there's ones I don't go back to. You'll never get my business again. You were awful. This was a horrible experience. I'll never be back here. There's plenty of dealers I can go to. So it's that relationship, right? How do you stay front of mind? How do you send them stuff? Hey, I send people, hey, I just thought you'd be interested in some cool reviews. We did some really cool kitchens. I thought maybe you want to just take a look at them and hear their experience. Because they had a kitchen. Now they got, other people who had a kitchen who use the same contractor. Cool. So now you're building your authority, right? You're reminding them that this was a great experience. You're still giving great experience. And here's testimonies saying just that and producing great, beautiful kitchens, right? That's how you generate the referral machine. And that's how you can avoid a lot of, I don't want to call it unnecessary, but unproductive marketing. Okay. Because you know the old saying, right? On marketing, 50% of my marketing doesn't work. I just don't know which 50%.
Yeah.
So that's what you don't want, right? You don't want to be throwing money out there hoping it's working, because when people are raving about you, that's effective marketing. I have builders and remodelers I work with a lot. They're all referral. You can't just do that. Oh, when you get the right market, I mean, they're referring $700,000 homes, $1 million homes, $170,000 kitchen remodels. Those are nice referrals. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Those are nice gigs because of what they did, the experience they created. One great thing, one of my clients said, I love it. He's down in South Carolina. He goes, you tell him, he goes, and the other thing, when we get done, we're still going to like each other. So it's just, I mean, just being open about it. Everyone has their awful story, right? And you're telling them that's not going to happen for you. It's great, So that's really how you capitalize on referrals: is create the experience, stay front of mind. How do you maintain the relationship? And it's pretty much life in general, isn't it? Like, again, we talked about, you don't pay attention to something, they go away. Customers are no different. If they spend with you once, they'll spend again.
Well, they want to know that they're valuable to you, and
Mm-hmm.
that at the end of the day, I even the uncomfortable topics, especially with what I do, financial planning from A to Z. I literally help people with all aspects of their finances, their goal setting, and coach them on it. And some of it is really uncomfortable, especially if it's involving debt. They've had, something that tragedies happen, a loss of job, whatever. And you also have to be a person that can communicate and be, like you said, you had zero empathy at one time. That's one of the things I've had to get really good at being an empath, to be able to, that's okay. I get where you're at. I'm going to hold your hand and help you walk through this. We're going to take actionable steps to help you through that uncomfortable time that you're going through right now. And I find the better I connect, the better referrals, right? It keeps that relationship
Yep.
going. They have an expectation, and next thing you know, they're around a coffee table conversation with friends. I'm not there. And that's how I've gotten so many referrals, right? John and Sally, they're talking to Richard, and Richard goes, you know what? I had some challenges. I won't necessarily get into it, but I know somebody that'll listen to you, that'll put actionable stuff into place. and help you through the trials and tribulations and be there for you on the other side. Are you looking for that sort of thing? You should contact White, right? So, and I've had people tell me that's what they tell people. I just want more. That's why I
Right.
always ask people. I've had people on that the whole podcast is just about referrals. They've written books
Yeah.
about it and they overcomplicate it, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's
I'm not into overcomplication. I love simple. I always use simple things, and it's just maintain relationships. That's what
yeah,
it's about. It's the old, your networks, your net worth. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what it is.
absolutely,
And those
absolutely.
people, and it's going to go both directions. Yeah, they're going to send you work, but you're going to get to know them. If you build a relationship, you know what they do. What do you think? They don't need a referral for anything,
Or you
right?
walk into their home or business and you can talk to them about something they said to you 6 months ago about their
Right.
children or their
Mm-hmm.
own business. And hey, how's that going?
Yep.
People listening, take notes.
Yeah.
Even if you leave a meeting, you don't necessarily want to take the notes during that meeting, whether it's virtual, like this podcast recording, or you're face to face. When you get out of there, write little bullet notes, because you know what? It's just like snap your fingers, it's gone from your brain.
Remember the name of their dog.
Oh, yes.
You do that is better than remembering their children, which is a sad state. But I'm just saying, when you remember the dog, like I don't know what it's, whatever triggers in people, but especially if they're millennials, the dog and the cat, like they, because that's their children now. They're little fur babies. So you remember the name of their
Oh,
pets. Oh, it'll just take you to the moon with them.
but I find sometimes the most obscure things that are told to me by people I meet, potential clients or current clients, the obscure things that I remember, and I bring that up obviously within context of the
Right.
conversation. They're like, wow, you remember that? You'll see their body language change too,
Right.
because I also watch people's body language. I listen to their tonality. Relationship building, for those that are listening, it is a skill, a learned skill. You're not going to just fall off a turnip truck and be a great relationship. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have, and be, that's another thing I tell people. If you're having a conversation with somebody and you notice their tonality or their body language changes, it's okay to look at them and say, you know what? I just noticed something. Did I say something incorrect, or did I trigger something inside of you? That would you like to talk about it? And I've left and sometimes had that epiphany, and I'll reach out to them and say,
Yeah.
you know what? I just was thinking about this. Yesterday we had this conversation and I noticed this, and I was, my brain was somewhere else and I should have brought it up then, but I thought about it now. Is there something that I did incorrectly that I can maybe correct? Maybe I said something wrong, or maybe you have something going on that I wasn't aware and I was just talking and not listening to you. Would you like to talk, have a conversation, right? But it takes effort to do all that,
Right.
obviously.
Well, I
Right?
think there's a great saying, listening is a silent form of flattery. And when you listen, like you said, you came back and you remember, that was because you listened, right? People love a listener. Now, I will say, back in the day, was my making fun. Well, that's enough about me. Let's talk about me. That was kind of my attitude. I'm
Yeah, that's a
doing all
great
this
way to
stuff to
put it.
make. So yeah, so but listening is critical. It's a
Oh,
huge part when
absolutely.
you can incorporate it into your daily operation. People like you and they won't know why. It's because you listen.
Well, you might not
That's
hardly
why.
say anything, and they'll go, "Well,
Right.
it's always so great to talk to you." And really, they're talking, you're listening, and that's
Right.
okay. Sometimes
That's right.
I tell my kids all the time, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And sometimes you don't need to say anything.
That's right.
Nonverbal connection is more powerful than we realize, right? People
Yeah.
just want us, and once in a while, have that little, as you're
Yeah.
talking, nod,
Yeah.
and have that look on your face and the body language where you're leaning into it, right?
Eye
Because people
contact.
pick up,
Yeah.
yeah, they pick up on that. They don't
Yeah.
understand, people don't understand how powerful nonverbal is, right? Like,
Right.
it's just practice. There's so many good books out there, but we won't get
Yeah.
into all the great
Yeah.
books about
Yeah.
about how to communicate.
Yeah.
So, Richard, if you had to give our listeners one last closing message, what would you tell them in regards to giving a heck and never giving up?
There's something I live by, and it's like, if I can still take a breath, I'm in the fight. Okay. And you have to, and I know you'll see a lot of stuff with Sharpen the spear. We're honing entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business. We're very warrior minded because business for us is a battlefield, and it's endless. We have to do it. So you'll see a lot of my references to that, but truly every day you're working, every day you're fighting for attention, or you're fighting for accomplishment, or just to get through the day. Right? It could be the worst day ever. And just, again, you're breathing. We talked about gratitude in the beginning. You're breathing, right? That's enough to be grateful for right there. Understand, if you can breathe, you can fight, you can continue, and you're gonna. So I leave them with that. Like, just take that and understand, like, you got it.
I love
You
it.
can do it.
I love it. I wake up in the morning and I have a routine too. And the first thing I do before I even swing my legs out of bed is I start having gratefulness for the fact that I just opened my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I was given another shot, and and when I go to bed at night, I close my last thoughts out with gratefulness. I welcome you into my night, Lord. I'm grateful for having this day, and I backtrack through my day, good, bad, and ugly. And when I go to bed, I welcome him into my night and say, hey, I hope I get a great night's sleep, and so does my family and friends. But in the morning, if some of myself or some of us don't, please take, I want to be with you, right?
It's awesome.
I want my soul to go up to heaven. And it's so simple, but people overcomplicate it. Gratefulness and gratitude is so powerful, right? You can breathe, you woke up, you're breathing. Right. Be grateful and then go from there.
The other thing I tell people about that too, when you do wake up, I said, you've just reached average. Okay. So if you wake up, you just achieved average. Okay. So you got a lot to get going. You got to do something, because to be average, you just have to wake up in the morning. Okay. So don't be average. All right. Yeah. Get them feet on the ground and go do great things. Go do hard things. Go do great things, but don't be average. That just takes waking up.
I love it. Our time is almost up, and this has been an absolutely fantastic conversation. I want to respect our listeners and your time. What's the best way that people can reach you?
SharpenTheSpearCoaching.com. Easiest thing to do. Can I give them a special gift?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. If you go to SharpenTheSpearCoaching.com as a listener of Give a Heck, go down to my contact section, write me a 1-sentence email. Said, Richard, I heard you on Dwight's show. Can I get the free copy of your Audible Escape the Owner Prison? And I'll send it to you.
Wow, I'm going to do that myself.
That's right. I know I was going to say that.
I want my copy. I love Audible.
And if you're not totally tired of listening to me for the last hour or whatever we've done here, you get 2.5 more hours of me talking.
I would love it. I'd love it. So pick me.
You're already chosen.
I want to call, because I'll actually listen to it. And yeah, it's, I don't know. I've had so many good books that I've experienced in my life, but again, how to hide information, put it in a book, because most people don't read it. They don't open it, or they don't listen to it. So I appreciate that, brother. Any last words before I wrap up the show?
No, man, I appreciate everyone who listened. But I hope you're all getting something out of this. I know we talked about a lot, but just apply it. Desire plus action minus excuses times competition equals results. Got to take action, and don't let excuses get in your way.
Take action immediately. Take action immediately. As soon as you stop listening to this, maybe the first action is going to be to look at the show notes, and you found a section. For those new to the show, if you go to giveaheck.com, I'll have Richard's information in there, social media, his website. But I also put in, you'll be able to, if there was a specific section, you can go down and, this section here at this time, I can go listen to that again. So if there was something that you didn't quite grasp or you want to hear again, you can go to giveaheck.com and find that, as well as, again, the contact info for Richard. Thanks again, Richard. I appreciate you, brother. So thanks so much for being on Give a Heck, Richard. I appreciate your time and sharing some of your experiences so that others too can learn it is never too late to give a heck. Thank you for taking time out of your day and listening to Give a Heck. If you find value, I'd appreciate you sharing with your friends and family so they too can learn how to live life on purpose not by accident. So you do not miss the next episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and please also post a review. I look forward to reading your comments. This has been Dwight Heck. If you want to check out other podcast episodes or today's show notes, please check out my website, giveaheck.com. And until next time, together let us all strive to give a heck.